Okay, we're back and we have the mold prepped. We've sprayed it with mold release. We use mold release 200, also from Smooth On. And we're going to be using Smooth On's EpoxiCast 670 HT, which is a high temperature castable epoxy, and it's pretty strong stuff. I believe it's 13,000 PSI, and I forget the tensile strength. But to help out with that, I fabricated this little bar. You can see it's got a little curve to it to match the curve to the handle. And I drilled the holes through it so that one side of the epoxy can come through and bond to the other side, and it doesn't just split right along the reinforcement line. So we're going to put that in place. We're going to install our mold. I'll stand it up. Now, this silicone's a little wobbly, so we'll use our mold boards again to come in. Let me turn these this way so you can see me make the pour. You want it tight, but you don't want to just squeeze it to death and deform the shape. Okay, if you notice, we've got two little air lines right here for air to escape at the highest point in the mold cavity, and we've got a bigger hole through which we'll introduce the epoxy that we're going to cast. So I've already got it measured out. This measures out by weight, not by volume, which is a little different for some than what we've done. And 16 to 1, so 400 grams of this and 64 grams of this, and we're going to mix that together like so. The one obviously much thinner. It's done. The other one, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to encourage it a little bit. We've got plenty of pot life in this, so I'm estimating how much I'm going to need, so if I run short, I'll have plenty enough time to mix up another batch to finish it off. Stirring, stirring, stirring. Starting to put off some fumes. And make sure you scrape your sides and bottom, or you will get an uncured material. And blobs throughout your mixture. I've not used this material before, so I'm really excited to find out how well it does. Looks like it's a homogeneous mixture. I don't see any color streaks. So, with that, we will begin introducing it into the mold. And I want to go slowly so that that can go all the way to the bottom and the air can escape up the top, because that's a very thin handle and we don't want air getting trapped in the handle. And what I'll probably do is I will pour this for a little while and then wrap on it. There comes some air up. I'll wrap on it on the sides to dislodge any stubborn bubbles that just want to cling on. Now would be a good time to do that. No, it's still going down fine. I'm just pouring a little faster than the mold's taking it. We've got some very thin areas in that handle where that steel reinforcement is. That it's just going to have to slide down beside that to get filled in. And that's where I expect the most trouble with air bubbles. But if they're on the surface only, it's not that big of an issue. We'll fill them in with body putty and sand them because this gets painted anyway. As long as it doesn't damage it structurally. There came a big air bubble. I think we'll wait here and give it a chance to gas out a little bit. That is a little uneven on the clamping pressure. So I'm going to add a clamp here in the middle. Square that up a little bit. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Well, is she still taking material? If it's taking material, it's not taking it very fast. Okay, we'll just sit and watch it for a few minutes. If we don't get any air bubbles, we'll assume we've got everything out. Looks like we've got everything out, so I'm going to go off camera now and wait for this to set up, and we'll bring you back when we're ready to demold it. Well, now, we let this set up over the weekend. No tack. It's hard as a rock. That means it's ready to take out. So we'll take out the form boards. Release that pressure. I expect we may have some issues right here and here where the air vents were. They did fill completely up with product, and they're going to have to be broken off essentially to get them out. So that may present an issue. We'll see how we did with air bubbles. Actually did pretty well on the air bubble front. Came right out. Can't ask for better than that. Well, I'm happy as a clam. So, obviously this has to be ground off. Everything needs to be sanded. You can see the steel showing through. That's not an issue. I think it shows through right here as well. By the time that's painted, nobody will ever know the difference. We've got some small air bubbles right there. If sanding doesn't take them out, we'll just fill them in with body putty. They're not essential to the strength of the part. So overall, after it's sanded off, got a big air bubble right there. that didn't come out. Some more air bubbles here, which is kind of surprising in that they're at the top and didn't make their way over to the pour spout where most of the bubbles came out actually. So I'll be glad to get this sanded. This does require a firing in the oven, 2 firings actually. One at a lower temperature for a short period of time, and one at I think 300 degrees for a couple of hours before it's fully cured. So I'll get that done and get it sanded, and then we'll come take a look and see what we've got. Well, as you can see, we've got the sanding done. Came out pretty nice. We've got some pockets there where there were air bubbles. We ended up, when we cured it, we ended up with a few where the material is very, very thin around the steel insert. Hairline cracks. And I mean, when you put pressure on it, they don't open up or anything. And there's some down here as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to fill these voids where the air pockets were, and we're going to use a product. Here's a spot here that for whatever reason is a little gap there. We're going to use a product called Aluminolite VAC 50, and Aluminolite is a polyester resin with a high concentrate of aluminum powder in it, and you measure it out by weight 1:1, and it takes quite a while to get this stirred up. And the pot life, I'm going to put to 20 grams, if I can get it to go there. Oop, 21 grams, okay. So what I'm looking for here is 40, it's 20 now, and since I want a 1:1 mix by weight, I'm looking for 40. There's 30, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 41. Actually, I need 42 because I was at 21. Okay. So we've got a working life of 6 to 8 minutes. And we're going to use this essentially like body putty. Like you'd use on a car. Now it helps to let this stuff spread out because it is an exothermic reaction. It puts off heat. And so by letting it spread out, we keep the heat buildup down. This one here may be a little difficult, and this stuff is a little runny. It's actually made for casting more so than spreading on and trying to get it to stay in one spot. Work at trying to get these holes. And keep my eye on the clock because I do not want to run out of time here. And then once this is filled in, we'll be able to come back and sand this down smooth, prime it, and paint. Yeah. A little bitty crack right there on that end. Get a hold of it by a place where there's not any material. That's got the most of it, so we've got some little bitty air bubbles I'll try to get. They would fill with paint, but if I can fill them with this, so much the better. So this should start kicking off pretty soon. Yeah, it's already it's already thickening. Hard to see here, I know, but that's kind of what she looks like right now. And you can see this wants to self-level. Realized you may not have been able to see a lot of that because I had it up in my face to where I could see it. So I apologize. We're just going to let it flow out and smooth out at this point. So we'll let this set up and sand it and see where we're at. So we now have this part sanded, all the little divots, air pockets filled in.